Hello everybody, welcome to the Empressive channel. It seems like the tension between Megan Thee Stallion and Glorilla is becoming a bit more obvious. Now, if you remember, there were rumors that they fell out months ago when Glorilla made a post on IG tagging Tory Lanez song. And you know Megan doesn't like Tory. She claims he shot her and he's in jail for that right now. So Megan took that personally. She briefly unfollowed Glorilla and she also removed pictures of Glorilla from her Instagram feed. Glorilla responded to it. She said it was an innocent repost and she doesn't do any internet mess. And she also retweeted this post saying that she doesn't deal with childish attitudes and friendships. And it seemed like she was subbing Megan. And there was also some other tea that they allegedly fell out over a man when the rapper Cuban Doll was arguing with Megan's friend Asian Doll. She said, "You also said Meg don't like Glow over her ex and asked for a threesome. Say I'm lying, B." So yeah, that kind of confirmed that Megan and Glorilla had a fallout behind the scenes. And it's really kind of crazy because they both were on songs together, they toured together, they seemed like they were friendly, but you know these girls really don't get along like that for real. They only come together for business, but deep down inside they see each other as competition. Now, fast forward to now, there's some more shade being thrown, and this time it was between Glorilla's team and Megan's team. So recently, Glorilla was sitting courtside at the Raptors and Mavericks game with the stylist EJ King. If you know, EJ King also used to style Megan, but they fell out. And there's kind of a long story behind that. I think Megan unofficially let him go and he felt away about that. I also heard that she owed him some money allegedly. And also Megan and JT confronted him at Cardi B's birthday party. And he was like, wait a minute, like, hold on. There was a lot that happened. And he did actually testify in Megan's trial with Tory. And his testimony didn't exactly support Megan's. So that's kind of the backstory behind that. You know, Megan doesn't really fool with EJ. But EJ moved on and he's styling Glorilla now, and he was with her at the Mavericks and Raptors game. Glorilla was there to support her boyfriend from the Raptors named Brandon Ingram. And interestingly enough, Megan not too long ago was at the Mavericks game supporting her boyfriend, Klay Thompson, and she was sitting courtside with her stylist and best friend, Kalon. And of course, people started to compare. When they saw Glorilla and EJ together, one person said this: "Now she has her own Kalon now." When Kalon saw this, he said, "You ain't no Kalon." So he was throwing shade at EJ. And I know Megan and Kalon probably talk about EJ like a dog. And EJ responded and said, "I could give not 1, 2, 3 F's about anything y'all ever got going on. Baby, you should know that out of all people. Never gave an F to be one. Please, let's not forget, it would be no Kalon and Megan if it wasn't for me. Let's be humble, babes." EJ also said this under the Neighborhood Talks post. He said, "Which is so delusional because we went to the game first, LOL. And when did it become a race or a competition to be like anybody? I think that's the weirdest misconception that goes around." So EJ really is like, we're not thinking about y'all. We're not trying to be like y'all. But Megan and Glorilla are clearly in competition with each other. I mean, that's obvious, at least to me. Also, Glorilla's hairstylist, Barb the Dawn, had a few things to say. She called out Kalon and said, "What's tea?" And she also shaded Megan's fans for not buying her music. So when I saw Glorilla's team and Megan's team shading each other, that's when I knew, okay, it's clear that Megan and Glorilla are talking about each other to their glam teams. And Glorilla did allegedly like this tweet from this person saying, "We all know she started being bitter after she was outsold by Glorilla." That's very interesting. Now, I do remember Glorilla's album Glorious did outsell Megan's self-titled album last year in the first week. And a lot of people were having conversations about that because Glorilla went from being Megan's opening act on tour to outselling her. She outsold a 3-time Grammy Award winner, and that was very interesting to see. And was Megan mad about that? I mean, possibly, I don't know. Now, after Glorilla was exposed for liking this tweet, she went back on Twitter and she said, "Mad AF, aha." I don't know who this tweet was directed towards, but I kind of feel like she was throwing subs at Megan. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. but I definitely feel that way. Now, this all could be a PR stunt. It really could, but if it's not, I will be honest and say I don't think it's really in Glorilla's best interest to be throwing subs at Megan if Megan is not publicly saying anything. Now, I know behind the scenes could be a very different story. You know, Megan might be saying or doing some petty stuff that Glorilla is aware of, but she's not saying anything publicly. So Glorilla will look like she's fighting with herself. And to be honest, a lot of people might end up turning on her for that reason, because Glorilla and Megan do share some of the same fans. And if some people had to choose between her and Megan, they would go with Megan. Now, I want to move on and talk about this because this was a controversial moment. The season 7 Love Island US star Huda is under fire after she and her boyfriend Louis laughed when one of her fans called her castmate Olandria the N-word.
Whoa, hey.
Yo, I turned that shit off.
Hey.
Yo, what the fuck? What did they say? They said a bad word.
Yeah, they said a terrible word.
Now, what that fan said was disgusting, but the way Huda and Louis reacted to it was very revealing, even after they found out that the person called Olandria the N-word. They weren't really apologetic. They were just making excuses saying, oh, we didn't know they said Olandria. We just heard the slur. Huda said that she only laughed because it was awkward and only the caller is in the wrong. And both her and her boyfriend were saying they don't condone racism, but they were laughing at the N-word with the hard ER being used. I'm gonna tell you like this, both of them didn't care at all. They only cared about the backlash that they got. And I know Huda uses the N-word anyway. She was mouthing the N-word in one of her videos, and her boyfriend doesn't care. He thinks that, oh, because she's with him, then that doesn't make her racist.
This is just an opportunity for the haters of my girl. The fact people are calling her racist and then calling me racist. Sorry. Cough, cough. I don't know if you can fucking see. I'm black. Yeah? You know, not the darkest, but I've definitely been kicked in the face with it. And she's with me. So, make it make sense, bro.
I'll make it make sense. News flash, a non-black person can be with a black person and still be racist, and a black person can still be anti-black. Mr. I'm not the darkest. But yeah, I didn't care for Huda or Louis' responses because it was just dismissive, and they only cared about the backlash, but they didn't really care about Huda's fan being racist towards Olandria. Huda never cared when her fans were being racist towards her castmates like Olandria and Shelly.
Me and Olandria were really good friends in the villa.
Okay, so like she said, we're super close in the villa. Upon exiting the villa, once we got our phones back, I saw the amount of hate that I was getting from her stands, and I expressed to Huda, hey, I really feel like it's important, especially if you consider yourself being very, very close to me, and you was close to Shelly at some point, to speak out to your fans and kind of address, because the racism and all the things, because out of all of us, she had the biggest following. When we got in Cali, in LA, she mentioned that she would make a post. It pained me because even when she went on there to say she was bullied and she didn't put a name to it, they thought I was one of the bullies. I'm like, dang, like me and Huda was so close, like I wasn't even worth the post. Like
I was getting hated on as well, racially.
I get that, but your face was not plastered on George Floyd's body.
I think the clarification was in the Airbnb, though, because the three of us was in that room when we turned to you and said, Huda, like, you should address these people. It's not okay, et cetera, and you said you will. You didn't express to me that you felt like I was a bully to you or this or that. You made it seem like, oh, my gosh, I missed you so much, girl. You look beautiful. How are you? Whatever. So I'm thinking, like, everything is good. Like, to then see you go in your interviews and say, oh, I was bullied, and now I'll say I was the bully because that's what you're insinuating. And this is in the midst of me getting constant hate based off of what people felt for you or whatever.
Why didn't you do the post that Olandria asked you to?
Like, I was dealing with so much outside of that. Like, I didn't know what to say in that moment because I was dealing with so much. I wanted to address more than just that.
Now, Huda purposely didn't address her fans when they were hating on Shelly and Olandria, she made excuses and she played the victim like she always does. And she tried to pull the same tactic with this recent N-word incident. She made excuses and played the victim. So Olandria had to come out and she did address the hate in a very professional statement. She said, "I do not condone racism of any kind, nor do I entertain it. That kind of language is never acceptable. Not in anger, not as a joke, not ever. Words like that carry generations of pain, and pretending otherwise only keeps the cycle going. Defending it, laughing about it, or making excuses is even worse. I will not let this moment derail my purpose of uplifting my community, and I'm standing firm in who I am and using this as an opportunity to call for real accountability and awareness. We all have a role in building a culture where speaking to one another with respect is standard, and where speaking against hate speech is the bare minimum." And she also encouraged people to donate to Black organizations like UNCF, NAACP, and Thurgood Marshall College Fund. It was a very dignified and classy response. And also Shelly spoke out as well in defense of Olandria, and she also condemned racism because this hits close to home for her too, because she experienced a lot of it. And several of the other Islanders spoke out in support for Olandria. And Huda and Louis started feeling the pressure, so they did eventually put up an apology. They put up their ChatGPT apology like we were buying it. Child, ain't nobody was buying it. Y'all don't care. You only care because you got backlash. That's all. But one thing I could respect about Olandria and Shelly is, even though they can't control the fans, I mean, the Love Island fandom is crazy. They are unhinged. Even though they can't control them, they still have made some efforts to kind of tell all their supporters to be positive. Shelly has put out a few statements telling her fans to be positive and to spread love and not hate. She also said, "Don't ever think it's a compliment to uplift me while tearing someone else down."
To see all this hate and stuff, I'm like, yo, I don't stand for none of that.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are doing this and you don't know us. We don't even hate each other the way y'all hating so bad.
And Olandria has really gotten on her fans for being messy, and she does not condone anybody talking negatively about the other Islanders in her presence. She has even defended some of the Islanders who are getting a lot of hate.
And I try to speak to Taylor's character as much as possible because I know he's being a lot of hate too. Taylor was reciprocating the energy. It just was edited to where you guys couldn't see that. He was a gentleman. The women loved him. He was very good with women. I definitely feel like they got it wrong. He wasn't a villain, and Shelly damn sure wasn't no fucking mean girl. So I really hate the type of hate that they've both been getting, because they were awesome people.
Someone was like, "What do you think about Pepe selling Labubus?"
Don't get on here being messy and Nick stop laughing.
Stop getting on that app and showing y'all behind. Like, y'all gotta understand. Y'all are connected to me. Y'all gonna keep certain brands and wanting to work with. Like, we don't want to come off as problematic. Like, we don't want that. Yeah, reform, everybody. Keep it clean, keep it cute. I keep it cute. Y'all are a reflection of me. Y'all gotta keep it cute too.
So as you can see, Olandria already understands the power of her platform. She doesn't weaponize her fan base like Huda does. She gets her fans in line. So that's the difference between her and somebody like Huda. But anyway, tell me what you all think about this video down below. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you care. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.